So Ron said, good for you to ask if they can handle rather than assuming they can't. Yeah, so we try not to, especially if it's a, because experience does matter. And when somebody stays, so we don't ever want to discredit a candidate just because they've been somewhere for 15 years. If anything, it shows stability, loyalty, right? So on. So there's a lot of pros in that. But then again, just digging a little bit deeper and understanding and realities, like we as recruiters, we know that sometimes people have families to take care of, but not everybody is going to be jumping from job to job. Some people like stability. I like stability. Everybody likes stability. So we don't judge people based on that, like, right? So of course, if you're like, listen, if you're applying for like the Amazons of this world, the Facebooks of this world, like that's just like the turnover is high for a reason, right? So it goes back to like understanding what are your goals? Like, what are you trying to get out of that new position? Is it because it sounds nice, like that company is big and it sounds nice? Because there's a lot of other companies that are smaller, different pace of work, a little bit more stable, a little bit more loyalty, and so on. And I think, especially in this day and age, there's so many hot jobs that are out there, meaning like industries and companies and so on. And we forget that a lot of America is small business. So looking at small businesses that are out there where you can contribute, where you still get paid really well, and you can, and if anything, they want people who have more experience. They want people who will stay and be loyal and so on. In a larger organization, you're more likely to just be like switched over and over again. So you have to be on that mentality there. So I'll pause here in case you guys have any questions. I feel like I'm just talking and talking. I can talk for hours about this. So I'll pause.
Elena, I'd like to throw a question at you.
Please.
One of the things that we hear about that pop up from time to time in our Monday speaker series is people who have had a work break, whether they've stopped working to raise children or they have found themselves looking for a job, yeah, that in an unexpected way. So from the mind of a recruiter, how do you think about those two kinds of applicants?
Yeah, good. I'm trying to, so I'm a little bit biased towards people that
Mhm,
take breaks in a good way. So
mhm, mhm.
actually so I'm trying to think of like, fellow recruiters or just things that I've heard and kind of at other companies. So um for us, so it's a little bit, so depending on the role that you're applying for. So for example, if you're applying for a role, if it's like a business, I don't know, like a regular business role, like you're just
Mhm,
applying for regular like operations role or something like that,
mhm.
that's different. But if you're applying for a role in a specific company using, let's say, specific technology or tool, like in our field, right? It's not that we don't, because everybody takes, like people take a lot of breaks, and that's pretty normal, especially these days. It's like, but if that specific role requires you to be super up to date on a particular technology, I need to see how you stayed up to date. I don't care if it's a YouTube channel you were running. I don't care if you had a hobby. You just got to show me. You can take a break, but what did you do to stay on top of that technology? Because it's not just about the fact that you took a break. My concern is the skills gap between how much technology has evolved versus where you left off. So it's not even about the break. It's about what did you do during that break to stay on top of whatever industry role that you want to get into, right? And so I think that's a more important factor. Again, it's about telling that story. Like if you're, what I often see, and that's why I say I think like confidence is key. I cannot stress enough how much knowing how to tell the story. I know I'm like a broken record, but this is the biggest obstacle I see with clients, external clients I work with candidates that come my way, is confidence in what you bring to the table, and confidently saying, like, listen, I took a 2-year break, you know what, because I've had it, whatever that story is, you can say, I took a 2-year break. It was I came at a crossroad in my life where I had a chance to take a break and do some things I wasn't able to do, or I had a chance to take a break and etc. And then after a while, I came to a realization that I kind of miss working. I want to get back into it. I was now able to, my kids grow up, a life happened, etc. And I'm really got back into it. But I want you to be, I just want you to also keep in mind that during my time, I was always active. I was doing this and this and this and this, right? So again, and making sure that whenever you're interviewing, it's the whole preparation, right? Like, what are they looking for? How can you educate them about? Because sometimes the recruiter is not always gonna not every recruiter is made equal, right? Like not everybody's going to be able to recognize potential. You got to make it easier for them to see what you bring to the table. It's really up to you. That is the control you have. Make it easier for them to see what you bring to the table by telling your story in a way that sells to them. And that is the best that you can do. That, I mean, there's certain things that are out of our control. And if they're very specific and they need somebody very specific, that's out of your control. In the federal space, for example, we look for very specific people. So it's like, as much as I love to bring on some candidates, I have limitations. So understanding limitations of the hiring manager, understanding limitations of the role, understanding of limitations of that particular company is helpful. But the best thing you can do is make sure you come prepared and prepared to tell that story. And again, make it easier for people to see why you would add value.
Okay, thanks.